Page 3, or the application portion of our Unit 3 study guide, it's asking us to graph these functions using the transformations, and then we're going to use the information from the transformations to answer the questions that follow. So just reading this over, let's see, we have 2 collectible hamster wheels that are sold at HamsterCon. Both wheels cost the same exact price at the point of purchase. So that piece of information right there, both wheels cost the same exact price, tells me that the starting point, or the y-intercept, of these 2 hamster wheels are going to be the same. So months after the HamsterCon, both wheels start to lose their value, so they're going to be declining. Below are the functions of the values of the wheels, where y is the value. So now I can start labeling my axis. Y is the value. So how much the toy is worth, or the wheel is worth at the time. And then it says X is months. So X is months from the initial purchase. So first thing we got to do, we got to start graphing these. And the first one I'm going to get on there is the Fuzzball Deluxe. And I'm going to put my parent graph on here first. So we are 0, 0, 1, 1, 4, 2, because we have a square root function there. Now, it's going to be a little off the graph, so you kind of have to combine these 2 steps together. So let's say we do these in blue. So I have a multiplier of -2, and after I do my multiplier, it looks like I have a shift of going up 10, right? So plus 10 for this y value. And the y value is the only one changing when we do the multiplier, right? Because this is multiplying the y value. That's the rule for that multiplier. And then we're going up 10, so we're adding 10 to the y value, right? Or just shifting up 10. So let's do this multiplier first. So if we're looking at the point on the origin at 0, 0, so we're going to take 0, we're going to multiply it by -2, and then we're going to add 10. And there's our multiplier, there's our shift. So 0 times -2 is 0 plus 10. This new point goes up to 10. Okay. Now let's look at our next point. This y value here is at 1. At 1. So we have 1 times -2, and then we shift up 10. So 1 times -2 is -2, right? And I do it this way because if we were to do the multiplier first, -2 is somewhere here and it's off the graph, and it's kind of hard to determine where to go. So if we do it this way, so -2 plus 10, wrong marker, -2 plus 10, this is going to move it up to, if we put that in a calculator, -2 plus 10 is 8. So this point moves up to 8. And then the last one here, this y value is at 2. 2 times -2. Let's see, I can erase these here. Oh no. Okay, so 2, the y value was 2 times -2. So if we do our multiplier, it's at -4, and again, that's off the graph somewhere over here. But if we do it this way, that's -4 plus 10, which is 6. So this new y value is 6. And 6 is right here, I believe. So here's our transform graph for the Fuzzball Deluxe. Now let's graph our Spinnerific wheel. Okay, so Spinnerific wheel, this is a linear function. And for linear functions, if you remember from Math 1, or you can go ahead and put this on there and then do your multiplier and your shift. But this is your y-intercept. That's your rise, which is -2, and then your run, which is 3. So first place we start is at 10. There's 10. And then we go down 2. over 3. So down 1, down 2, over 3. 1, 2, 3. There's our point there. Down 1, down 2, over 3. 1, 2, 3. Oops. 1, 2, 3. Right there. And so on. And once you get enough points, you can draw your line. I have a line tool. I can just draw it this way. Right. Or you could have kept going down 2 over 3, right there, down 2 over 3, down 2 over 3 until you hit where it has no value. So now looking at these graphs, and I didn't notice this before we worked it out, we might have to extend out the blue graph, the Fuzzball Deluxe, or we should have extended out the parent graph. So the next one over here, and we haven't went over this much in class, but it is a good skill to know, especially in these situations. For the square root function, there's another one. There's another perfect point out here at 9, 3. So we can just go ahead and quickly put this point on there. The y value is at 3. So if we do the same thing, 3 times negative 2 plus 10, that's negative 6 plus 10, that is 4. So that new point there would have been at 4, which is right there. And then we go back to drawing this point, and we get that intersection that we're going to need. And then so on there later on. So let's go ahead and answer the questions. So for now, we got a basic graph on there for both of those. So if we look at these questions here, let's look at this first one. So we graph both functions, label the axes accordingly. Check what is the initial value of the wheels. The initial value where they both started is started at 10. Right, we kind of got that right off the bat. So what's the initial value? Let's say $10. After how many months are the wheels the same value? So same value means that the y's are the same, right? So y is values here. How many months was that? We're looking at, is this 9? I believe it's 9. So after 9 months, it's the same value. Okay, next one here. Over what time interval is a spinorific worth more than the fuzzball? So where is spinorific? Spinorific is the one in red. When is it worth more than the fuzzball? So when does it have more value? Which means we're looking at the red to be higher than the blue one, the Fuzzball Deluxe. So at what point is it higher? We're looking at from here to about here. Okay, so if I redo that, we're looking at this interval here. Remember that it applies to the x. So we can't state that it's equal to, because they have the same value there. It's not worth more. So from 0 to 9, right? This is 9, this is 0. We're looking at it at spinorific being worth more. So over what time interval? From 0 to 9, right? And we can't say that it's equal to 9, because when it's 9, right? When it's 9, they're the same price. It's not worth more. They're worth the same. So we can't include 9, and we can't include 0. Next question says, when are these wheels worthless? So when are the wheels worthless? If we go here, we're going to have to find the value where they're equal to 0. Let's see, where did they equal 0? So for the spinorific, we can kind of get that right off the bat. Where does it equal 0 after how many months? Is this 15, 13, 14, 15? After 15 months, the spinorific is worth 0. So for the spinorific is worthless after 15 months. And now let's look at the other one. When is the Fuzzball Deluxe worth nothing? So if we're looking at Fuzzball Deluxe, off from the graph, we're not going to be able to tell. We don't know exactly where this is going to intersect. You're always welcome to pick points, plug it in, and if you get the y value to be 0, that's your that's the point where that's the x value, that's the amount of months where there's no value to your product. Or if we look at the formula, and let me erase this here, hopefully you guys have that written down. If we're looking for the value to be 0, we know the y is the value, so we can do 0 equals, right, so you plug in 0 here, -2 times the square root of x plus 10. And we can start simplifying this. So first thing we do, subtract 10 on both sides. We get -10 equals -2 times the square root of x. And pick a different color. Divide by -2. Divide by -2. This simplifies to 5 equals the square root of x. And lastly, if we want to undo a square root, we square both sides. Squared, squared. Those cancel. We're left with x equals 25. So when we plug in 25, we know we're going to get 0. And 25, it looks like it's over here, but we can double check that too. So if we plug in 25 into our equation here, right, we plug in 25 right here. So the square root of 25 is 5. 5 times -2 is -10. -10 plus 10 is 0. So for the Fuzzball Deluxe, it is worthless after 25 months. So now, what is the reasonable domain and range of spinorific? So for the domain of spinorific, domain is always going to be the x values. Where? Yes, I'm going to. Yes. Okay, so domain for spinorific, and that's the one in red. So x values we're looking at from 0, right? Because initially we buy it's worth $10, and to where it's worthless, it's at 15. So the domain is from 0 to 15 months. And this is the domain for Fuzzball real quick. The domain for Fuzzball was from 0 to, we said 25 is where it's worthless. So if we make that point there, this is going to reach all the way out. So from 0 to 25. Okay, so now determining ranges for these, and then ranges are going to be the y values. So if we're looking at spinorific, our y value, the lowest point is at 0, and it goes up to 10. So the range, right, domain is x values, range is y values. It's from 0 to 10. And then 4, so I did that in blue. So the range for fuzzball, if we go back, is this one's also from 0. Right, the lowest point is 0, and the highest point is 10. So the range is 0 to 10 as well. Oh, that's not 10, that's an X. 10.